Hello, everyone. I'm Damon. Here's Mom Cynthia. Say hi, Mom.
Hi, everyone.
We are working on our Living in the OC episodes now, and I thought that we would talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of living in Orange County, and there's a lot to talk about.
Why don't we start with the good stuff?
All right, let's start with the good stuff
Yes.
first. I think honestly, the good stuff really far outweighs.
We wouldn't be living here,
It's
probably.
it's one of the best places in the world to live, and I think it's why everyone wants to be here. It's an incredible area. Yeah, there are just tons of pros, and there are, of course, a few cons. When people think of Orange County, they think of the beautiful beaches that we have here.
Right. In Southern California, we have here in Orange County, we have Huntington Beach and Newport Beach,
Laguna Beach.
And that, of course, provides the opportunity to surf. If you love being on the beach with your family, there's something fabulous about sitting on the beach and watching the waves crash, for sure. That's one of the things that has always drawn people to Southern California.
I'm not a big beach person myself, and I don't really like all the big fish that are in the ocean, but there are a lot of people that love it. Not me.
And yeah, there's a whole community that really just does nothing but anything and everything that has to do. We have yacht clubs and places to park boats and people that like deep sea fishing, and just it's a whole kind of almost like a subculture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Weather is the other big factor why people are here. We're having sort of, I'm just looking at some of the notes. It says, yeah, the average temperatures are between 60 and 80 degrees. It's absolutely correct. We have had a very strange winter, a lot of rain for us. And even now, as we record, we're in May right now, and it's been very gloomy for us here in May.
Strange. I had a contractor I was working with today say that it reminded him of being in London. It was so strange for Southern California because we do have lots of sunshine. So they're now saying we can have some May gray and then June gloom,
sure,
which is right before all the wonderful summer months, July, August, September, which are, just perfect weather every day. One of the other things here I think is so important is all the entertainment, not only Hollywood and that whole industry, but here in Orange County, we have the Angels, the Honda Center, we have the Ducks, we have all kinds of golfing. As a matter of fact, everybody will have heard about the gentleman who did the hole-in-one this last week. He's from the Orange County area and is a pro golfer. Damon loves to golf.
Mom's tapping into one of my ideas. Yeah, I think in a future video, I'm going to actually go out and shoot some of the golf courses. She's referring to Michael Block, and that's a whole other story. Arroyo Trabuco is the club that he manages down there. But yes, we have incredible sports teams, as you mentioned, professional sports. Even with the Ducks and hockey is a big deal. There are even hockey rinks here, which is hard to believe. For younger kids, ice hockey has become so popular that they even have youth programs now.
Right.
So, I have some old high school friends that their kids are playing high school hockey and whatnot. So, hard to believe with the really good weather that it is that big of a deal, but yes.
We also have the Segerstrom Center, because it used to be that you'd have to drive up to Los Angeles anytime that you wanted to see a live play, and now we have this magnificent center here, and there's something playing year-round, and season tickets are sold out. So it's only about, I would say from my house maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most.
Segerstrom Center? Yeah,
get to the Segerstrom
right
Center.
Plaza.
And so it was hard with COVID when some of that shut down, but everything is pretty much open again. And of course, if you're talking entertainment, you have to think Disneyland. That's here.
That's probably should be number one on the list, because people come here from all over the world just to go to Disneyland.
Yes.
You can be anywhere out. You can be out of the country, and you can tell someone where you live, and you could say Orange County, or DOC, they may not know. You say Disneyland, they know exactly what you're talking
where you're talking.
about, so.
Yeah, but a lot of people aren't as aware of the Knott's Berry Farm. When I was growing up, actually sort of right about the time Disneyland was being built, Knott's Berry Farm was a big place because Orange County was known for all of its groves and citrus and oranges and so they had these fabulous jams. If you go to the grocery store, Knott's Berry Farm jellies and jams are still just my favorite. And they have an amusement park there now, and they have the fabulous chicken house that has biscuits and chicken, and just it's really delicious. One of the other things that I loved in my lifetime, raising a family here, it is a wonderful place to raise a family. It's safer than most big cities today. We don't have the amount of violence, thankfully. I liked it because my parents lived north, a little bit in Ventura, north of Los Angeles, and my sister and her family lived south in San Diego, and we were kind of midway. So it ended up that everybody kind of met in the middle. And for people that work and need to take a train and go to Los Angeles or San Diego, it's a very nice central area. We're a little bit cooler than Los Angeles, tiny bit in the summer, maybe 5 degrees. And we're that many degrees warmer than San Diego, which tends to be a little cooler. So I find the weather here to be perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, okay, I'm just looking at our little list here.
Well, location. You are 20 minutes to the beach, an hour and a half to Palm Springs on the weekend. You can drive there Friday and spend the whole weekend there after work. You can go to Las Vegas in 4 hours by car, 2 hours to the mountains during the winter to go snow skiing, Arrowhead and Big Bear. A lot of people here have a second home there because it's so convenient to go up for the winter sports. And so the general location here is very nice.
It's centrally located, everything.
Right.
Like you said, that's a huge, huge advantage.
I think another big thing that brings a lot of people here, certainly when my father he came from Ohio, he was hired by Hughes Aircraft Company, which became Raytheon and kept getting bought out. And there are all kinds of opportunities for employment here.
The big sectors that they're showing, technology, healthcare is another one. Aerospace, as Mom is talking about, is big. Finance is big.
Yes.
Tourism is huge as well.
Right. People actually come here. A lot of people from the Orient come here, and we have one of the best malls in the world called South Coast Plaza. And I've laughed when I've looked at some tour guide booklets that say, that you'll start in Northern California, you'll go to San Francisco, they have a time there, and then they stop in Yosemite, and then they come to Orange County to go to South Coast Plaza because it has every great distributor and store, European designers, and so that's another highlight. I try not to go too often; it's too tempting.
Some of the best stores you can think of, some of the most luxurious brands that you can think of as well are there. Every major designer that you can think
Absolutely.
of has a store down there. Interestingly, the Nordstrom just closed, which we haven't really touched on.
I'm very surprised about that. Maybe that's our economy today, but
right. And we talked a lot about the economy in our other videos, but I was shocked to hear that the Nordstrom actually closed at South Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very shocked about that. But you actually touched on something when you're talking about people coming from Asia. Diversity here is huge. Southern California in general is a melting pot. And even when I went through school and whatnot, you find out that there are literally, in Southern California, there are people from every country in the world represented here, not just the Pacific Rim, but on the notes, it says here you have big populations of Asian, Hispanic, and Middle Eastern. Absolutely correct.
That's true.
They are every single culture you can think of from all over the world, South America, all over the place are here.
Yes, it's kind of the melting pot
of the country, really.
Of the country now.
I mean, I haven't really spent much time in New York, but other than that, This is the second biggest market in the country. Huge melting pot here.
One of the things I should have mentioned when we were talking about Disneyland, Damon grew up in Anaheim Hills, and we were blessed in that we had taxes that were lower than many other counties if you're from Anaheim. And the reason for that is Disneyland. They pay this huge portion of the taxes, which allowed residents to have nicer, lower, easier to pay property taxes. So
I don't even want to get into that whole political discussion, but we'll take Disneyland's business here. Unlike Florida with their governor that doesn't is fighting with them, I'd rather have us not fight with Disneyland. It brings in, you're right, the revenue that it brings in to Orange County and to Anaheim in particular. It's staggering how much money it's brought in.
Right.
Education is another thing we need to touch on. Incredible schools here, all the way from grade schools to some of the high schools locally. If you want to go to the private schools, there are several that jump out. Even I got a public education going through school, and I think I turned out okay.
Right.
That's debatable, but you can get a really good public education here as well. And then we haven't talked
some
about
of the private athletics.
Like last week, our video that we just put out, as we talked about the Orange Circle, we showed you Chapman University. We have universities in Orange County. We have Chapman University, we have Cal State Fullerton,
great
we have
school.
UCI in Irvine,
which is a science mathematics mecca, which is one of the reasons that we have such a large Middle Eastern Asian population, certainly in Irvine here in Orange County, that they are drawn to UCI simply because it has such excellent courses and majors in the sciences and mathematics.
Absolutely. So that was one of them. And the other thing that we haven't touched on, which is huge here, which kind of ties into UCI a little bit, healthcare. Some of the best healthcare hospitals in the country. I mean, we have some excellent, whether you're talking about Hoag down in Newport Beach, UCI has their own hospital.
And their research centers as well.
St. Joseph's has one. I mean, there's just a list of excellent, even the Children's Hospital.
Well, I was going to just mention that both Damon and his brother spent a week or so at Children's Hospital, which is not by choice, but it's just maybe 5 minutes from where I live. And it is just one of the most renowned children's hospitals in the United States, maybe worldwide. But it's awfully nice to know that if you have a tragic or an accident or a trauma or something that you're not sure, you can rush your child over there and get the very best care that they could possibly have. That's a huge thing to me. And in that same complex is St. Joseph's Hospital. And it is a Catholic-based hospital. There was a nunnery and people there that worked throughout the hospital, and it's a very loving place. So that's, the older I get, the nicer it is to have a hospital that's that close by, just in case.
Don't mind Mom's clock in the background. She has tons of clocks here.
I do.
That just gave away the hour, but that's all good. You're not really supposed to talk a lot about churches and whatnot. That's a whole other thing. We have some huge churches here too. In Orange County, we have the Crystal Cathedral, which is now Christ Cathedral, right?
Yes.
The Catholic Church bought it out.
Yes.
Saddleback Church is here in Lake Forest.
One of the biggest in the country.
Yeah. I mean, I know religion is a sort of a topic people want to stay away from, but some huge churches here in Orange County, whatever your...
that do amazing work and charity work and outreach, which is important. And I think if you're a young family and you're trying to get into a community, that's one really good way to do that.
I mean, we even had Greg Laurie with his church. He just put a movie out. So now we're starting to see even ties into Hollywood where they're having movies made.
Right.
So it is a big deal here. And that's going back to
even private schools, like
the Catholic system. I mean,
Mater Dei, which is really renowned. It's like right here in Orange County. And there are parents who want their child to go on into sports maybe as their career, and they move here and they bring their children here to Mater Dei, which is probably one of the best private schools, great academically, and just Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, my brother is going to be so mad that we're talking. It's his rival school. My brother went to Servite in Anaheim. They're huge sports rivals. But yes, Mater Dei also claims now 3 Heisman Trophy winners.
Right. Right.
So Matt, I'm not going to remember the older gentleman he came out of there 30, 40 years ago. But Matt Leinart and Bryce Young are the 2 recent Heisman Trophy winners that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yes.
So incredible schools, amazing sports programs, so really kids can try to take it as far as they want to now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So now we do have to mention
some of the negative stuff.
Yes. And the ugly. I don't think there's any ugly, actually. I think it's some things that are difficult. We used to have more smog than we do now. I don't notice it hardly at all. And we've had the most extraordinary winter. I know all throughout the United States, there have been just hurricanes and tornadoes, and just seems like everything that could possibly go wrong. We are on a fault line here in California. So there was the earthquake, and what year was that?
I want to say 1989, or was it 90? The one up north was 89, and the famous one in San Francisco was, I think, 89, and Northridge was 92, I believe.
So,
or 3.
But we don't have them every year. We don't have all of the flooding. Normally, it's drier here, so the water can be a problem in that there's not enough. So
we have the San Andreas fault line that runs through the state, right? And so we're on that line.
Right.
But yeah, we were talking about it earlier, and we're kind of going out of sequence, which is great. I'll take earthquakes any day of the week over tornadoes
every year
and hurricanes. You turn the news on, the nightly news, and they've got these tornadoes going through the Bible Belt, through the Midwest, and just wiping towns out completely. I will take our earthquake threat any day of the week over that. Or we have family that's in Florida. Like, I couldn't imagine hurricane season
coming through every year
and having to close up your windows and everything to try to shelter in, to prepare for these crazy hurricanes coming through.
So that's one of the other possible negatives. If you live up in the mountain areas, and you have years where you do not have enough water, then there's a fire risk. And we have had forest fires, one that actually damaged a lot of Yosemite. It's tragic. You go through there and hundreds of acres that have burned.
Right.
And so that can be a problem. And it seems like this year we almost have an excess of water.
It's interesting that you even bring that up, because insurance-wise, I'm hearing of a lot of insurance companies now that are not wanting to insure certain properties because
of the forest areas. Yes.
Because of the fire possibility.
Right.
And I think actually earthquake-wise, I think you can you buy earthquake insurance, right?
Yes. Yeah. And one of the other things that we've noticed too is that we have a cabin up sort of near Yosemite, and because of some of the forest fires and not having enough water, it has driven some of the creatures that normally stay up in the higher altitudes down to Bass Lake. So we have had a mama bear and her cubs back on the backside of our property, and a few more snakes than usual, and a couple. So
the drought and the fire, right, has brought these animals down because they're hungry and thirsty,
right,
and they're looking for food. So that's right. So even here locally, we've been getting, you'll see on the news, they've had bears come down even here in Southern California, which is hard to believe.
Yes.
Come down lower and make, they're looking, again, they're looking for food
and water. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Mom, the first thing on the list, what's the first thing that comes up when you think of why a negative for being here is the cost of living?
Right. Things are expensive. Our homes are expensive. Everybody throughout the country, I think their cost of living has gone up at the grocery store, everywhere. But here, it's really one of the most expensive places in the United States that you can live.
This average single family home that's, let's say, a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom detached single family residence is over $1 million here. So it's expensive. It's the second biggest market in the country.
Right.
And it's
because of all the pluses that we've just told you.
That just triggered another thought: cost of gas.
Yes.
Cost of gas in California
is higher than anywhere.
Higher than in any other place in the country. As we speak, and we're heading into summer, it's over $5 right now in May, end of May. We just filled up the other day. The cheap 87 was $5 a gallon.
Right.
And it's going to go up for the summer. Last summer, when it was skyrocketing, we saw them hit $7.
Yes. We were higher than anybody else. And you can't live here without a car.
That's a huge point.
We do not have public transportation here. No one has ever wanted it. Everybody's attached to the steering wheel of their car. And so you know that becomes an expense. Also, you cannot really take buses or trains or things. We do have an Amtrak.
They do have buses, but they're limited, right?
Right.
I mean, to get anywhere around Orange County, really, you need to have a car.
Yes. So that is
another expense that you need to factor in. Certain big cities, New York comes to mind, when they've got the huge rail system and underground system. Right. You don't have to have a car, and they're actually working. They're working on it in LA, but who knows when that's going to be finished?
That's the blue line.
The underground system there. They are working on it, but that hasn't come down to Orange County. It's up in LA right now.
But you can take the Amtrak and go to LA, go to San Diego if you're working there.
And it is fun though. We will jump on one of those everyone. We like to go down to
San Juan Capistrano where the swallows come in. It's wonderful. Yes. Mm-hmm. Another whole fun thing that we could go down and film as one of our special places here in Orange County.
So that kind of
ties into too much
traffic. Yeah, the congestion, traffic congestion. It's unbelievable here. I don't want to sugarcoat it. If you're not, sometimes now it doesn't even seem to matter what time you get on the road.
Right.
I used to say if you're not on the road by 2 something, and again, most people work till 5 o'clock, let's say, traffic will be bad at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
And work hours go till 5. So rush hour can be nasty all the way until 7, 8 o'clock at night. And
what people do is they carpool because we have a carpool lane.
Not enough. People
not enough. They like their own car. But there is a carpool lane.
Yeah.
That if there are 2 or more people in a car, you're going to get where you want to go
get in the carpool.
faster.
But people also like their space, and now they get in the car and they listen to their audio tapes and whatnot. So,
right.
But I've heard of many people that will have an average of an hour commute. And I know that COVID has changed the dynamics of working and whatnot, and a lot more people are trying to work from home. But it's been remarkable coming out of COVID. It sort of died down because people were home, but now that we're back to full swing again, traffic, like if we went out right now at 6 o'clock here locally in California, it's gridlock.
Well, and maybe the last bad news sort of thing is the fact that because we do border onto Mexico, we do have a lot of
south of San Diego
coming into California. We have an awfully lot of programs here for people. They can get medical and schooling and all kinds of things. And so that becomes a bit of a problem. But a lot of the migrant workers and people who come in, because we have all of Central California is really where we raise most of the crops
for farming.
And so these people come in and seasonally will pick crops and things.
It
So
works both ways, though. We're totally
yes, that's
dependent on them
and it's a plus
for their
them.
labor.
Of
So
course.
yeah, it works, absolutely. But the last point there that kind of tied in with is the crowding and overpopulation. The note here says that we have over 3 million people just in Orange County by itself, with I believe in Southern California now. I know LA used to be around 10 to 12 million. So we're looking at 15 million people. We're probably looking with San Diego and everything, at least 20 million people in Southern California.
Right.
So there are just a ton of people here. If you're from any other part of the country that's not used to, city hustle and bustle, 20 million people is a lot of people.
Right. But Orange County is like suburbs. There's not just one hub center where there's all the activity. We have Stanton, Westminster, Garden Grove, Orange, Santa Ana, Anaheim. I mean, just
Irvine. The list goes on and on.
Yes.
Right.
So, and they're all spread out, and each has its own sort of government and school system and what have you. So it's not like you're in New York City and everybody is right there. So that's one of the big pluses here, I think, in Orange County.
Definitely. So that kind of exhausts our list. Is there anything else we need to?
Well, we could just give personal testimony. Damon's lived here his entire life.
Got about 2 minutes left, but yeah.
And I've lived here since I was 5 years old. And yes, everything changes.
It's home. I mean, I've lived in different parts of the state and whatnot, and Orange County will always be my home, definitely.
Yes. And we love the culture. We love the weather. We love all the opportunities that are here for, careers and schooling and, retirement communities, you name it, there's something here. So if there's anything that you have that we didn't cover, if you have some questions, give us a call. We would love to have a Zoom call with you. It would be very fun to get to know you if you're in California, if you're coming to California. There are always questions that maybe we didn't think of. So don't hesitate.
And as I've mentioned before in other videos, I am a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway. All of my contact information is below. My cell phone number, and it's been up the whole time. I laugh every time I see it. No, it's still on the screen.
Okay.
My cell phone number is there. My email is there. Shoot me a text, send me an email, give me a call, whatever method you prefer. And as Mom said, we can do a Zoom call with you as well. So looking forward to chatting with you all. Stay tuned for new content coming next week.
Yes.
This is Living in the OC, and we've had a lot of fun putting it together.
Absolutely.
Okay, until next time.
Come visit.